Welcome back to another episode of Creative Kompany, hosted by me, Vina J, as we visit your favorite Black artist, creative, and influencer to talk about everything in their artistry while also incorporating conversations circulating around mental health. So if you're ready to come with me to visit our artists, let's go. Hey y'all, so we're here in front of our creative space. We're gonna go ahead and give it a knock to see if they're there so we get a little insight, a little conversation, and a little tour of their space and enjoy their company. All right? Hi, D.
Hey, come on in.
I'm gonna come on in. You gonna invite us in? You funny as shit. Thank you for having us in your office.
Thank you for coming, for pulling up.
So I would just like for you to point out a couple of things in your office that, give us a tour that you resonate with well and, have some backstories too, or some stuff that you think is just cool in here and you want to highlight them.
Some things that's I feel like it's cool to me. So I like getting awards. Like most people, you be living in meritocracy. It's just everything's merit based. So it's like when people say it's not about that. If you're an artist, they're kind of lying because it plays a role in leading to the next thing. But some awards are a little different. For me, I think I got to go to so I was on the front cover.
This whole wall is filled with awards.
But it's some awards. Some of them are not necessarily awards. Some of them are like some degrees. Some are like citations from like government officials. I don't really know what they mean. Some are, I was like an inaugural lecturer of a series at Creighton University.
Okay.
The Johns Hopkins Magazine one was a special, not an award, but it was a special moment for me because I was early in my career. I didn't really have anything, books out or anything like that. But and they normally don't put people on the front of the magazine.
Really, I was gonna say you were right in the center.
Yeah, they put me on the front of the magazine because they thought my story was compelling. They thought while I was they thought that I was a special person, and they denied me entry before I actually got into the school.
Really? Are you the first Black person to be on the cover or no?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I might be one of the. I'm one of the few humans.
One of the few.
Humans.
Humans.
One of the few humans.
Oh, they don't usually use humans on the cover.
Don't put people on the cover.
Oh.
But they thought it was that good. So
that's lit.
That was like a special moment for me. I should probably have it framed properly. I just kind of cut the shit out and put it there. My book Black Boy Smile is a special one for me because it's the first time I really get a chance to write about not the family I come from as much as the family that I'm building. Right. So I got to talk about my wife. I got to talk about my daughter. I got to talk about all of the many different toxic things that I played a part in.
Right.
All of the hearts I destroyed. Trail
I was gonna say, oh my God.
But you gotta
more so just
hold yourself accountable for the role you played. And any pain you cause people. And then understand that this is something you'll be doing. You'll be holding yourself accountable or trying to self-assess for the rest of your life. So it's not just like I wrote a book and now I'm like husband and father of the year. I'm not.
You're still navigating through things and you're human. I was gonna say.
So that's just like a special thing. And then this is like the call sheet from the television show that I wrote. This is like the first call sheet where I'm the writer, and then I'm in the show, and then I'm like, I did multiple jobs that particular day.
How was that?
It was a full circle moment for me because we grew up watching TV.
Right, I was gonna say.
We're taught that I don't know what they teach in PG County, but in Baltimore, they kind of teach you that you'll never be able to be a part of that. This is something that you can watch, but you
Like
can
it's outside
never.
of your reach.
You'll never. You can't. It doesn't matter how long your arms are. You'll never be able to reach it. So I wasn't thinking that in the moment, but reflecting back, it was like, wow, I wasn't just on the set, but I ran the shit.
Right.
Whenever I was there.
That's empowering. No, that shifts the narrative.
I was proud of that. So yeah, there are not awards. They're like,
mementos,
some family stuff. R.I.P. Virgil. These were like the first big parts of my book career. The first 2 times I was a New York Times bestseller. They were like, that was like special to me because, again, like you hear these terms and these phrases and you don't think that'll be you. You make jokes like, man, if I wrote a book, it'd be a bestseller. That's a joke. And then
look
boom,
at you.
the shit's a bestseller.
Look at
so
you.
There you go.
I like this. Is this Muhammad Ali?
That's Muhammad Ali. Yeah, that's Muhammad Ali.
I like these action figures.
It could be somebody else too, though, if you wanted to be.
It can't be Mike.
It can be like Lou Rawls.
Please. Okay, well, thank you. Is there anything else you want to point out? I know you talked about this painting earlier.
Yeah, Ernest Shaw gave me that painting, and
that's lit.
Ernest Shaw is one of my favorite artists.
Ernest is lit.
Ernest wasn't like as famous as he is right now, and obviously no one knew me at all. And we were just like, he was like a big brother, like an uncle, like an OG, just as an artist. He was teaching at Francis Inwood, and he was just talking about how much he loved art. And I was telling him that, I want to try to make it as a writer one day. And we would go to this bar and we would just drink and just talk about like creativity and like the world and how we see the world and what we think about the world and what is this shit, And one day it was like my birthday and he came in with 2 joints gift wrap, and he gave them to me, and it was like one of the best gifts I ever got. Someone stole. So he gave me a Bob Marley and a Jimi Hendrix. Someone stole Bob Marley. I'm a big fan of Jimi Hendrix. I'm a bigger fan of Bob Marley. Bob Marley speaks a language that it
resonates with you.
Yeah, and maybe it's Aquarius connection, but I'm just
you an Aquarius?
Yeah. So I'm a big Bob Marley fan, and I think the culprit, think the suspect, Negro females.
They took it. Please. She took it and she did not understand the value of it. But I'm so glad you have that one just to keep.
Yeah, I think if you know the value, it's Ernest Shaw. You still both. It was me. If I'm on a mission, I'm taking both.
Well, D, thank you. I am excited to see more of your work, more of like awards, more of like people celebrating you, like start to expand. And thank you so much for giving us insight on this because this is dope. Yeah. But now I want to ask you a couple of questions if you're ready.
Yeah,
you
sure.
ready?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm gonna get my card. Dee, thank you so much for having us again. It's been all giggles and learning with you. I have my first question for you, just more so of understanding like your book and seeing the traction it's got, Black Voice Smile, and you talk about it. It just definitely shows how you have taken writing to another level, especially in this time of your life. How has writing served as both an escape and a reflection on your community's challenges while also revealing your personal strengths and areas for growth?
What a question. I feel like that's a few questions. What I will say is I've always loved storytelling, and I did not know that I would be good at it. I did not know that it would be a profession. I did not know that it was important to my family, my neighborhood, my culture, the people that came before me. Like I did not know. We don't really, when we're growing up, we don't necessarily associate books and articles with storytelling. These are books, they're for school. Articles are for people who are whatever, but stories are what we talk about on the block. I used to fall asleep on a park bench Fall asleep on my steps, fall asleep on my
Were you?
block when I was, no, hell no.
Oh, so what?
No, but because the dudes from my neighborhood could make a trip from our block to the corner store, it sounded like they went to the moon. You know, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this person came, and this person popped out the soil. Like they could really tell a story, and I didn't want to miss any of it. And all these years, when I was in the streets, and when I decided to go to college, and when I decided to try to clean my life up, all of these years I was being trained to be a storyteller, and I didn't know. So financially is the obvious thing, but the way it heals and connects some of the people, especially with some of the topics that I write about. Write about poverty, I write about oppression, I write about difficult family dynamics, written about sexual assault, written about violence, you know, and I've provided, you know, some stories to help people process some of these things in a way that wasn't fully happening for certain demographics and dealing with mainstream media and mainstream publishing. So I'm proud of that.
Thank you for that. No, it definitely does show, especially like even coming to your own like manhood and just realizing like, oh, these men that were telling these stories, you know, whatever case may be, or just telling their tales of their everyday life when you were younger, like, oh shit, like they made it sound as if like they went on this extravagant adventure and things of that nature, and taking that piece and applying it to like your journey into manhood and just also your career, it definitely does speak a lot of volume.
I tell people like, it's, you know, I done been, you know, on like television shows and stuff like that where I've been introduced as like a master storyteller, and I'm like, you don't even have a clue. Like, yo,
my man's around the way can tell you about the time that they went to X, Y, and Z to got you captured into the story. Because black people know how to tell a story. Like, all right, so bet, boom, like this is what happened, and then and they add sound effects to it. They're like, oh yeah, so he went like whop, and then he went like. It's the funniest thing.
You know, when they start off, well, I ain't tell you, you like, you know, you about to be in for some shit. When you on the phone, when you get that text or that phone call, like, yo, I ain't tell you about.
Nah, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. So with that and just coming into yourself, I wanted to ask about your relationships just with like the women in your life. You know, how have you been able to hold space for the women in your life, whether it be platonic, romantic, or like family, just from your evolution of growth?
So I feel like I think holding spaces, and for me, I think it's something that I try to do naturally and stuff like in the most intentional way possible. Like I don't like it's not. I don't look at it as like a goal. I look at it as a way of life. You know, because I'm going to be holding space forever.
Yeah.
My wife, who was at the center of all of this, is a star in her own right.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I think being in a relationship with me, especially living in this city, we're both from here, but and we both have public facing like jobs. Right now, she's the director for the Office of Civil Rights.
Oh, that's dope.
In the city. So
that's really good.
But before that, you know, she like has run like communications for the mayor, was chief of staff for the state's attorney, the comptroller. Like she's done all these big jobs, so people know her. And when they talk about me, they talk about the things I've done, and some people might say, "Oh, and that's his wife," and it's like, no, she's not. She's done way more shit than just.
Yeah, it's an equally yoked situation.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I always hate that term yoke. Like equal. It just sounds gross, but I get it. I get it though. I get it. I just see two pieces of yoke trying to like you're trying to shave them down. But I say that to say I have to check other people, but then I also have to check myself. But always because you know, sometimes, and I don't want to speak for men in general, like I don't think we're all like the same, but if I'm just speaking for myself, you get into a disagreement with your spouse, and or if any woman that's in your life, you know, sometimes you have to realize you have to communicate in a way that's healthy, and you have to pull back a little because you have to realize that gender dynamic is a thing. That bullheadedness is a thing.
Yes, it is.
You know, you have to be very, very, very
be mindful of your communication and your tone and the things that you're saying.
The second part of that is my daughter. She deserves to understand that the world is hers and she can do whatever she wants. She can do whatever she wants. If she wants to be a Disney princess, if she wants to be a stay-at-home wife, if she wants to be president, if she wants to
be anything.
If she wants to, you know, if she wants to beat the shit out of other children.
Please.
I'm saying
I think the most important thing, and just from that, and I appreciate you for giving that, the most important thing also, just from understanding your growth and how you utilize that for holding space with women in your life, it's important for your daughter to witness it, you know, especially how she witnessed it, of course, with your wife, but then also like, how does daddy interact with aunties, you know? Oh, how does daddy interact with like my godmom, you know, whatever the case may be.
She's around women bosses. Like my wife is a boss. She owns her own company. She, you know, she's highly sought after, and you know, she's a lawyer. She's a boss. She's a boss. My manager and one of my business partners, Brandy, is a boss. She owns her own company. She owns another company with my wife, and they do their thing. So it's like, you know, she's always around. She's always around women who do what they want to do, you know. So if they want to fall back and relax, they relax. If they want to get up and grind, they grind. But they do what they want, and she gets to see everything. She gets to see the whole thing. And I want to, you know, I want to be more intentional. I do want to be more intentional about how we talk about these things with her as she grows, because you know, she's little, but you know, these kids, they get these ideas in their head early. So you gotta be ready.
And she's gonna be a woman, you know, eventually, and things of that nature. So she's gonna take bits and pieces of what she's witnessed or what she has encountered in her childhood, you know, as far back as, you know, whatever age, and take that into her womanhood and be like, oh yeah, no, I know how to do this because I saw mommy and daddy this. I saw daddy treat mommy this way, or like how I had these other women around me, you know, it's important. Speaking as a Black woman, my damn self, it's important just to witness what healthy dynamics look like, especially between men and women, because understanding that gives me the torch, or passes on the torch of just like understanding like how I need to navigate in my ways, or how I need to heal some things, or whatever the case may be. So
I would have healthy conflict too.
Yeah.
I don't think
what's healthy conflict to you? Like
healthy conflict is acknowledging that we all see the world in different ways, and just because we don't fully agree doesn't mean, you know, we have to shut down, be passive aggressive, or yell and scream like crazy. We deserve to understand the triggers of the person that we're with, and then to work through these things. And that's something that you build as well. You don't, you know, I don't like to try to gauge other marriages against my own, but you know, how you deal with conflict in year 5 is not the same way you dealt with conflict in year 1.
Absolutely.
And you should be working to get better with healthy conflict. So it's like a, you know, you work on it. When I'm at my best, I can talk about what I don't agree with while holding hands. When I'm at my best. When I'm at my worst, I shut down. But you know, we're navigating. We work on it.
We're working on it. So earlier when we were talking, you had mentioned, like, in your book, Black Boys Smile, you had made a note of, like, understanding, what was it? The context of things that you had to go through, like, you know, in your past. And especially as a young adult, you know, or just being a child, you had to navigate certain things with your childhood. My next question is, how did you navigate that shift from Black boyhood to Black manhood? And how does forgiveness and self-acceptance contribute to your growth?
Self-acceptance is something that is another long-term goal of mine. I'm not there yet. Like I'm not in a position where I can say, I've made these bad decisions, I've done these bad things, I forgave myself, I'm okay. I'm not there. I'm far away from it. forgiveness in other people is, forgiving other people is something that is really important to me. It's something that I care about a lot. It's something that has been very helpful in my own self-development, understanding that I can only change myself, I can't change other people. How we roll through world is like how we're all like entry-level narcissists. We're all entry-level narcissists.
And then who develops into like having alignment with understanding myself, like, no guys, this isn't it.
And when I say entry-level narcissists, I mean the fact that we want to be accepted for who we are, but we want people to be what we want them to be. And it's like, no, you need to accept people for who they are and, work on yourself. And work what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate.
Exactly, like I was saying, you get to a point, you're like, wait a minute, I think I got it. And start to tell people like, no, that's not the way. But people have to develop that on their own as well. When did you really feel like when did you notice, not so much feel, when did you notice like the shift happened? Like you were in this realm of, doing these bad things, or you was this type of person that was, accustomed to doing these bad things. Now that you're in a space where you're like not associated with it as much anymore. I mean, yes, we have memories and stuff about it, but when did you notice that and you was like, oh, okay.
If you want to know what the bad things are, you should read the book.
You should read the book.
Go read the book. Just know it's very bad. It's the baddest shit ever gonna read.
Oh my goodness.
So I didn't flick a switch. It's been like really, 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 really small, tiny developments that came from being committed to working on myself.
Gotcha.
That got me to being a person that could even be in a relationship, right? I think a lot of times we get in relationships to not be alone. We get into these relationships because we don't want to, we want to make the person that we're with happy. But we're not there. Like we're not in a space to fully consider another person. So I think when I was becoming a reader, and now I'm not just reading content. I hate the word content. It's disgusting. I'm not just reading.
That just came out of your person. Oh my God.
I just hate when people keep talking to me about content. Like, whatever. I'm reading, I'm not just reading books and things that speak directly to my own experience. I want to know what it was like being a teenager in Saudi Arabia in the 80s. You know what I'm saying?
It expanded.
So as you do that, you become, you're becoming more empathetic. You are thinking more. You are understanding the reality of other people more. Oh, these other people have this reality. So now I'm thinking about the reality that I have in contrast with the people I share space with. So
that's called Sonder.
Yeah. So you're small. You're on the road of you're eating more healthy. You're drinking less alcohol. All of these different things lead to different kinds of clarity, and in that clarity is where you find. In that clarity is where you pick up those little jewels.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, well, maybe I was an asshole to them, those girls in the 10th grade. Now
I gotta sit there and think about it and forgive myself about it. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, you think about it, and I think at the core, most people sociopath. No, at the core, I think most people don't want to hurt people. Like I really truly believe that we don't want to hurt people. I think it's not black and white and it's not simple, but I think if I had to make it as simple as possible, you don't want to be the cause of someone else's pain. You just don't. And I think, and I'm talking rational, everyday people that's walking the streets. I'm not talking about the outliers, but everyday people, the guy at the gas station, the woman, the woman at the shop. Like you don't want to hurt people. And I think when we realize that, and then we're on these other journeys of learning and thinking and studying and growing, the combination of those two leads to you wanting to make sure you are the person, that person, the good person.
The good person. It's a great area for that either way. And especially when you are growing, I find the importance now, especially for me, coming into my own womanhood, is community. I call my tribe that is the family, you know, especially having sisterhood. I definitely do believe that having certain women that are reflecting, mirroring, and being kind of adjacent to the things that you're doing, even if it's not like specifically, like, no, you're doing this just the same way I'm doing that, but just adjacent in the same realm, in the same orbit is very important. Do you feel like brotherhood has served that for you?
You know, I'm thinking about another question you asked, and I don't even know if I can hold space for women. I think that, like, and this is just, you know, I'm blessed to have the women that I have in my life, and they're so dynamic, and they do what the fuck they want to do.
But how are you not gonna be able to hold space for women?
I mean, because I can't, like, it's almost like saying that if I wasn't in their life, they would be thriving and successful anyway. They're gonna be the shit regardless. It has nothing to do with me.
But do you not think that you have an impact?
I think that so, and I'm thinking about, like, I'm just thinking about the women who, like, I'm fortunate enough to be around. I'm thinking about my wife. I'm thinking about my manager Brandy. I'm thinking about super talented genius author my homegirl while you two. I'm thinking about these. I'm thinking about the talented, like my wife was the shit before she even knew I existed.
So I
can't even hold space. If any, what I'm saying is that, this is your term that I don't like, but I'm just speaking. You're like,
go ahead.
Help me out. Equally
yoked.
These people are. They're better than me. Like, they're better than me.
But why we have to do the status? So okay.
But that's not negative to me.
Okay.
That
if
is
it's not
like
negative to you.
They are standing on the shoulders of Maya Angelou. They are standing on the shoulders of Shirley Chisholm. Like, they literally are. They're giants. So it's like, I'm not trying to make it a comparison thing. I'm saying that they're so powerful that I don't think any guy can hold anything for them unless they allow and wanted him to.
And but with them in allowance to do that, do you not think that you contribute towards what they allow you to do?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
For sure.
So with that being a concept, whether it be your wife, your manager, these other women that you know you are within proximity to, do you not think that you're able to hold space for them in the ways that they allow you to? Because nobody can do anything to you unless they allow it.
I guess what I'm trying to say. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't want to give myself unearned credit. I just want to say that these people were great before I came into the picture, and when I'm dead and gone, they're still going to be great. Is all I'm saying. And I just want to be clear. I just don't want anyone to feel like I don't want anyone to
like
feel
they
like
made that you made
like
them,
that I
like
made
you
them
contribute. No. And I don't even think that was
or that my holding space allowed them to thrive because they were already going to thrive.
When I mean holding space is just seeing them, hearing them, and understanding where they're like who they are and accepting them within that posture. Not so much of just like, oh yeah, you know, I hold space for women and it contributes towards this. That's not even the tone or the aura of it. Just more so of understanding like, hey, you are a woman. I'm a man. I understand I have certain duties and you have certain duties as well in your role or positioning or whatever the case may be. But I am willing to step in and do X, Y, and Z. I'm willing to accommodate you in this way. I'm willing to hear you out or see you in a certain way or understand you in a certain way rather than just like disregarding you as a person more so as a woman. Am I making sense?
So basically, when this is like big nationally syndicated show and you're like, you know, traveling the world and all of this shit, I can just take credit. I got it. Got you.
No,
without me.
That's not even no fucking dog. But anyway.
Without me.
Anyway, no.
You will be digging ditches in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
No. But more so back to you cultivating.
Kenosha, Wisconsin. Sorry, go ahead.
Is that a special place for you?
No.
Okay.
It's just a place in Wisconsin.
He said he knows places, y'all. But no, more so cultivating brotherhood. How have you been nurturing those, or how do you nurture those relationships with the men around you as well?
It's difficult because all of the men in my life right now, we're just in different spaces. The closest to me has been my best friend Tavon. He spent 16 years in federal prison for nonviolent drug crimes, and then Devin Allen, who's been like my little brother, and only person that can relate to in my life that can relate to how I feel in talking about where we're at as far as like career in art. Two people who get a lot of the similar demands. We get grouped together in certain things. We get the frustrations from the art world. We get the frustrations from academia, and we also get the praise and like the glory and stuff like that too. We get unfairly judged sometimes, because people like projecting. They like, people might say, "Oh, you met D. Watkins, he's standoffish. He's like, why is he so he's stuck, he's arrogant." And I'm just like, no, nigga, I don't know you. Like, why am I responsible?
That's that Aquarius thing.
Why am I responsible for making sure you have the best day ever? And I don't even, and I'm having a terrible day. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And you built the net, like, and I'm saying this shit happens in real time. Like I was giving away, I was in Seattle and I read this article about how people who grow up with books in their home do better than people who don't, even if they don't read them. And I thought about, damn, I grew up without a library, without books in my house. And then I thought about all of the other kids that I was coming across in the jails and the schools and the stuff I was doing while I was on the road that don't have books. So I said, you know what? Fuck that, I'm giving away 500 books. So I called the people at the bookstore, Red Emmers, and I'm like, yo, we gonna give away 500 books when I get back to Baltimore. Put out something free, some gifts, some shit to give. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be cool. It'd be a good night. So I do this, and like 600 people, some shit like that. Like, wow, pack the bookstore. Like the bookstore is packed. You can't even move through that motherfucker. Like it's packed, right? I do this, and with the old Red Emmers, when it was on North Avenue, they had a little green room in the back. So this chick kind of makes her way through the crowd and gets into the green room. And I'm talking to my mom, and she like kind of butts in, and she's like, "Hey, can you sign this?" And a person from the bookstore, and I was gonna just sign it, even though she cut my mother off like mid-thought. She cut my mother off mid-thought.
That's terrible.
And was like, "Yo, sign
like,
this."
Lord.
Like, hey, whatever. And I'm gonna sign it because I'm not a mean person.
Yeah.
Unless you make me, but I'm not a mean person, right? I'm not a mean person, so I'm gonna sign it. And the lady from the bookstore is like, "No, you have to wait like everyone else. You have to wait like everyone else." And the girl went back to her seat.
And she was thinking
and she didn't know she was sitting right behind my manager. And she said, "I thought he was so cool. I'm really, really a big fan of his stuff. I love him." And he was just so disrespectful and mean. And
then we can't really contest towards your actions. I mean, that was an interference of the bookstore employee, but I can see.
But these little narratives they build, and it's like I can't do nothing about it.
But
like,
you can, and I think for just being in the gaze of the public, and this goes for every creative, every artist, every whatever. People are going to have their own narratives about you and own experiences. Will all of them be A pluses? No. As much as cool, calm, and collected as you are, as whatever it is, people are always going to make up their own narrative about you. Whatever. If I come out wearing yellow one day, like, oh, she thinks she the sun, huh? Like it's a thing people do. We're humans. We're gonna judge, and that's what I was saying. Like, more so understanding yourself and your growth and your development. I can see how it could hinder you. I can see how it could frustrate you, but you don't owe nobody the explanation of like over explaining. Like, oh no, I'm this. As long as you present yourself within space of who you are, people will understand. Whether people align with you or not, that's depending on divine timing. But I'm not going to dismiss it and say like you couldn't feel that way or you're not allowed to feel that way. But just understanding like since you are in the gaze of the people, that's probably going to be something expected. Now that was a unfortunate event. And it wasn't even like your own doing. So
I didn't want to lose your question.
No, go ahead. The question was brotherhood.
Yeah, I didn't want to lose your question, and I told that story because he can relate to that. So I think that my homeboy, my homeboy, I'm talking about Tavon Rose. When he went to jail, he just some kids running around, whatever, like crazy, out of control. He come home. And I'm not his homeboy from the neighborhood anymore. I'm just D. Watkins person. So it's like a whole. He's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, it's like a different.
He said,
thing.
What happened?
But then but he's also like he's living he's trying to figure out, we lost a piece of what we were growing into during his time away. Whereas with Devin, like, he's like a person that's who's also in this world, who also has their relationships with the guys he came up with,
Right.
who may not always understand, like, like, that's my nigga from my way. Why he be wearing sandals now? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't wear sandals. Devin wears sandals. Yeah, like
These shoes look like little sandals. They cute.
I guess you can make an argument. You can make an argument.
What do we like?
You can make an argument.
What
You
do
can make
we
an argument.
consider sandals?
I have nothing against sandals. I'm just saying that
I know I'm playing.
some people, like, they might not understand that he's not the guy. Well, he is the guy, but he's not necessarily. He's evolved into a newer version of the guy who they grew up with. So in brotherhood, I think we have those conversations. We have those conversations, and I think it helps. I think it helps to get up and to try again, and to try to figure it out again, and to try to try to keep it going.
Okay, cool things. My last question for you. It's kind of a fun question, but it's not really, hella deep. What's the last spontaneous thing that you've done?
I think the spontaneous things for me, I think it comes from like giving. So giving things or trying to make people happy. Like I know, like my wife had a long week, so I'm like, yo, let me just find really, really, really expensive, overpriced flowers that look very out of control and just ridiculous, and then it just make her whole office be like, where's you gonna put this tree, and just send them. You know what I mean? Like I think spontaneous for me comes in, how can I make somebody I love and care about smile? How can I pop up with a new doll for my daughter?
That's dope. I like that.
She has, my daughter has no bullshit, like my daughter has like 100 black dolls. That shit look like Essence Fest. Like they be
screaming,
and it's like somebody bought her a white one. And
I love that though. I used to have.
Somebody bought her a white one. You love that?
No.
Oh.
I love that she has a lot of black dolls because I have black dolls.
Right.
Please. I had white Barbies at first, but then like when they started coming out with like the Bratz dolls and like the different versions of the black
older,
Barbies.
so when I was coming out, there was no black dolls.
There was no black dolls.
The black dolls running around in the 80s and shit. You had to put your white Barbie in blackface.
Please, they cut their hair, do whatever. That's sick.
Yo,
sick.
Tickle me blackface doll, like the new
that
fucking
is
Barbie
sick.
and shit.
Dude, please don't.
So I might pop up and I might, and then we do like, I think we do and then when I say, spontaneous, because it's like with a schedule, when our daughter's in dance and music class at Peabody. She's in another dance class at another dance company that owns Mills, and then she does swimming. And then it's like my wife has a busy schedule where her working businesses, and then I'm traveling and I'm doing, I'm teaching and I'm doing these different things. So you kind of lose the ability to just pop out for drinking night, pop out on a week-long trip real quick or something like that. And I think, we try to, when we away, we try to really make it count. And then we try to deliver each other small little like acts of kindness or small little pieces of joy. Like I might try to like load a dishwasher, but I'd be like fucking up. Like I'd be trying to like load that shit how she wanted to load it, but it's not really hitting the way she wanted to hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, but I try to do little shit like that to try to lighten the load up. And I think, sometimes some simple things like they happen.
That's good. Thank you so much. That's all the questions I have.
Yeah, so I didn't have to look at those.
Because I like to give you
I don't want to think too much because I don't want to overthink it. I'll start overthinking.
You did a great job. Thank you so much. Do you want her handshake? I don't know what. Thank you so much. Wait a minute. Can you smile? You want to smile next to me? Because this black boy. I'm kidding. No, thank you. What the fuck? I'm about to cry. I'm gonna read it tonight.
Yeah,
Oh, bro.
I learned all my street shit from Lower Bar, bro.
There's no Lower Bar.
Oh, so why would it be? How can we have an upper? I'm so confused. Why would you have an upper if there's no lower?